It's time for more Manifesting Original Rich Bitch Experiences. Each week, we're talking travel, wellness, and millennial musings with a level of refinement. What level? It fucking depends. I'm your host, Ava Bilkey. Welcome back to the More Pod. It is absolutely no secret that I've been in need of a vacation for a very long time. And I keep telling myself, after this event, or after I do this work thing, or after I finish this client project, or after I rebrand the podcast, there's always an excuse and there's always a reason why I should wait and take a vacation at a later point in time. I've been doing this for a while now. If you're a weekly pod listener, you know. And if I'm being quite honest, I'm nearing a breaking point. I've been working a lot lately. It's all good stuff, but it's halfway through the summer and I'm tired. I don't know about you, but I am tired. Summer doesn't summer the way it used to when you're an adult. And it's such a short thing. The vacation needs to happen. And so what I thought we could do today is identify the signs that it is a time for a vacation. Whether you're a chronic girl boss or workaholic, entrepreneur, hustler, badass, or maybe you just have a really hard time prioritizing your needs over others. I want us to take this moment to reflect and identify a list of signs that it's time for a vacation. Pulling together this episode was so easy for me because this is exactly where I'm at in life. This is by no means going to be an exhaustive list, but I do want to share about 10 signs. Maybe it's 11. I think it's 11. 11 signs that you could also look for to know that it's time for a vacation, and most importantly, to encourage yourself to take one before you hit that point of burnout. So these signs can be divided into a few different categories. We've got physical signs that it's time for a vacation, emotional signs, and situational signs. Signs. Okay, here's an example. I can't even speak properly. This is going to be fun. Let's just get into it. Signs that it's time for a vacation. Starting off strong with physical signs that it's time to take a vacation. First and foremost, you work all the time. You're working through the weekends, 7 days a week, no days off. I know that sometimes, in order to make your dreams come true, you do have to work a Saturday here and there. I get it. I do it all the time. But when it turns into 7 days a week, I think this is a really strong indicator that you're doing too much. Your plate's too full. And when you work 7 days a week, it's really easy to hit burnout because you're not giving yourself any time to rest. This is where I'm at. I've been working 7 days a week for several weeks in a row. And to give you an example, I'm creating this episode on a Sunday, and this is actually my second on-camera appearance on this Sunday. So before this, I actually had a photo shoot. So I had a photo shoot, and now we're podcasting. And after this, I have copy to write because I'm redoing my website. We're just plowing right through because I am working towards some deadlines. But if I'm being honest with myself, I am so fucking tired. It's too much. And so once you start to notice that you're working just all the time, 7 days a week, 24/7, around the clock, it's time for a vacation. Another physical sign that it's time to take a vacation is when you're mentally taxed. And what I mean by this is you're lacking clarity. Your creativity isn't really there. Your mental capacity, like you're just lagging, but for an extended period of time. I noticed myself doing this when I was staring off into space in the middle of trying to complete a task. The mental taxing is not as easy to catch as, say, like realizing that you're working 7 days a week. But when you do notice yourself in this really depleted mental state, it is kind of crazy to be like, whoa, like what's going on here? I'll give you an example. Every morning as part of my morning routine, journal morning pages. It's 3 pages of free flow writing, and I don't know how long it takes me because I don't time myself, but I'm going to say it's maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45. Earlier this week, I caught myself daydreaming in the middle of morning pages. And I can't say that that happens very often. I couldn't even free flow journal because my mind was so exhausted that the only thing that I could do was just look out the window with glazed eyes. This is absolutely a sign, a signal, a symptom that it's time for a break. So, paying attention to your mental state and realizing when you're just not at your peak, you're not your sharpest. If you notice this happening, it's like your mind is communicating to you that it needs a day off. Another physical sign that it's time for vacation is when your environment is messier than normal. Now, I know that everybody keeps a different level of home, if you will, different level of organization, different level of cleanliness. However, when your environment is messier than your normal, it's a sign that it's time for vacation. If you don't feel like unloading or unpacking your shopping haul or opening that box that got delivered from Amazon, if you don't feel like you're completing tasks, maybe you're not folding the laundry. Maybe you're leaving the cupboards in the kitchen just like wide open. You're not putting things back in their place. These are all signs that something's going on in your environment. You're not putting the shit back together. And it's probably because you're just tired. Again, I had one of these moments just the other day where I noticed several articles of clothing like on my desk area. So I had like a belt that I must have taken off in the midst of working and just kind of like threw it over my desk chair. And then I had a hat that I like popped on to go, spend 10 minutes outside with. Took that off. It was sitting on my desk. Things that aren't supposed to be on the desk were collecting on the desk. And that's how I knew, Ava, something's off here. So paying attention to your environment and any changes in the way you typically take care of your surroundings, I think can be another great way to notice when you're tired, notice when you're off. Another one of the more obvious physical signs is when your immune system starts talking to you. When you're feeling under the weather, whether you're getting just a little sniffly or you're really tired, or maybe your body gives you a full-blown cold to be like, bitch, you need to slow down. The immune system is a really great indicator that it could be time to take a vacation. Your body is always talking to you, and it's up to you to listen. Through my own experience, I've realized that the more I override the messages that my body is sending me, the worse it's going to be in the end. So, and what I mean by end is like, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick, and I don't get sick often. When you are doing the most, when you are constantly working, maxed out, you haven't given yourself a break, your body is going to fight back. And typically, the way that happens is you'll get sick. So, if you're feeling under the weather, you've actually gone too far. Like you missed the turn for vacation land, okay? You actually shouldn't vacation when you're sick. You got to wait till you're feeling better. But this is another very obvious physical symptom that it's time to take a break. In addition to our physical indicators that it's time to take a vacation, there's also emotional signs. And one of those emotional signs is when you don't have the energy to do things that you enjoy doing or spend time with your friends and your family or your significant other. When you don't have the energy to do things that would normally fill up your cup, I think this is definitely an emotional indicator that you need to take a break. Every once in a while, I know that I get to this weird point where I don't even want to text anybody. It's almost like I need to go into a cave or a very isolated island beach somewhere and just have no signs of other human life. And this one can sometimes be hard for the other people in your life to understand. You know, it's like, why are you canceling our plans? That's unlike you. Or why aren't you emailing me back? Why aren't you called me back? Why haven't you, like yada, yada, yada. The list goes on. And when you don't have the energy to pick up the phone and call your parents or respond to your work emails or go to dinner with friends, when you don't have the energy, that is how you know that you've got to take some time. You've guessed it. You've got to go on a vacation. This is never a fun place to be. I've always found that when I hit this point and I do just kind of want to self isolate, I almost start feeling even more exhausted about trying to help the people in my life understand that I need to isolate. But it is what it is. Another emotional sign is that you might be feeling very simply unwell, emotionally unwell. And I think this results differently in everybody. It could be that your stress levels are super high, or maybe you're feeling super depressed, or maybe your anxiety is flaring up. We all kind of have our emotionally unwell state of being. Maybe it's wintertime and your seasonal affective disorder is just off the fucking charts and you really just need 3 days of sun. Or maybe you've just been on overdrive and your adrenals are just maxed out because you've been girl bossing in the middle of New York City and you really just need to go touch some grass. There's a million scenarios. And regardless of how that scenario specifically shows up for you, feeling just emotionally unstable or unwell is a really strong indicator that you need a vacation, babe. You need one. Book it yesterday. Time to go. Go touch that grass. Because here's the thing, everything's still going to be just as it is when you come back. If you take a week off, like literally nothing is going to change when you come back. You're not going to miss anything. The world's not going to stop spinning. You're still going to have a job. That's the whole crazy part about this. It's like, why can't we just take vacations? Why is it so hard? As I'm saying this out loud, I'm also wondering if this is a bit of an American problem. File this under American probs. I don't know. Perhaps. No, I'm sure this is global. This is a global problem. We all need a fucking vacation. Another emotional sign is when you start to feel apathetic, meaning you just don't care. Everything is blah. You're totally indifferent. Your routine has become so mundane. Every day is the same. You're rinse and repeating. You are waking up, you're driving to work, you're working, you're driving home from work, you're eating dinner, and you're going to bed. And then you do that every single day. When you get to the point where your life has just become so boring, like it's nails on a chalkboard status, that's how you know you have to get out. You have to go change your location. You have to take a few days away from that life routine and take a vacation, get re-inspired, spark your creativity, just do something different. This one is a big one for me. I mean, it hasn't happened as much since I've become an entrepreneur, but when I was working 9 to 5, I used to get so sick of my routine. Like I wanted to just crawl out of my own skin. I think about the way in which I'd vacation in that setting too, where it's like 7 day, not even seven, 5 business days off. You work basically a whole year to have 5 days off. And then it takes you like 3 days to unwind. And then you've only got 2 days. And then you just got to get back right into it was the worst. I mean, this is one of the main reasons why I now work for myself. Hello. But if you hate the way that your life looks and you're just in desperate need of inspiration, you've got to take a vacation. Lastly, I think there are situational signs that can also be good nudges. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, good nudges to take the opportunity to get out of town. First one being your work or your business comes to a natural lull. So maybe you are in the process of offboarding one client and onboarding another. Or maybe you are changing jobs. Or maybe you have seasonal work, and you get summers off. It's looking for those indicators in your business or in your daily work that say, you know what? We're shifting gears here. We're going to be a little more chill for the next amount of time. That is the perfect sign, situational sign that it's time for a vacation. So I have one of these coming up. I'm sharing it here for accountability that I actually take the opportunity to go on a fucking vacation already. Like, I'm making a whole podcast about reasons why we should be taking vacation. It's like, babe, just take the vacation. But I actually have a business lull coming up. And so let's see, what do I want to drop into the accountability chat here? I would love to take at least a week, if not 2, maybe 3 weeks off in August. I am going to be wrapping up a huge personal project. And I also have a big consulting client project coming to an end. So this is my business lull. And it's a sign. It's a sign that it's time. So take a look at your workflow and maybe you already know when those natural lulls kind of occur. Maybe they happen at the same time every year, or maybe they don't. And you really just got to keep an eye out. But either way, pay attention to the ebbs and flows of your business and take that time when you're not as busy to just go do something fun. Speaking of fun, another sign that it's time to take a vacation is when you are not having fun. 6 months after I left corporate and I was launching my own business, I was at a point where I was really stressed out. This was a few years ago now. But I'll never forget this because I was so stressed out. I was working around the clock. I was building and I was in a place where I felt like I was really trying to force things to happen. And of course, forcing doesn't really work. So as a result, I was just getting really tired. And I had 3 people in my life, they didn't know that they were doing this. This was just one of those signs, right? But I had 3 different people in my life ask me what I was doing for fun. And I was like, "Excuse me? Fun?" Like I couldn't even begin to think of an answer. I wasn't having any fun. I was having 0 fun. And as a result, I had 0 creativity. I had 0 desire to do anything. Being in a situation like that where you're at the beginning stages of building something or launching something, it feels very counterintuitive to do anything other than channel your energy towards that thing. But when you're not having fun, that thing that you're trying to work on, it just isn't going to work. So it really is about striking this balance of doing the work and then also having fun and leaving room for play and space for creativity and inspiration. And so if you can't remember the last time that you had fun, it's a great sign that you should take a vacation. Another great sign is when you receive an invitation that feels exciting to you. So maybe you have a friend that invites you to a birthday party at a cabin for the weekend, or maybe somebody invites you to a concert or on a trip. Whatever it may be, if you receive an invitation that feels really exciting to you, that's a perfect moment to take that opportunity and just do the thing. This one's really easy, but it's also really easy to let this one pass you by. I observed myself turning down some invitations recently, and I've turned them down based on having prior work commitments. And I'm proud of myself for seeing through my commitments. However, it did not go unnoticed. I noticed that I was declining these invitations, and I want to be able to accept those invitations. So the next time one comes around that I'm really excited about, I'm going to do it. So look for those areas in your life where you are receiving invitations. When you receive an invitation that's exciting, take those opportunities. Take those opportunities to live your life because you know what? This life is short and we have to fill up our cup. So just know that the next invitation you receive could very well be your indicator that it's time to take a vacation. Last and absolutely not least, and possibly most importantly, if you can't remember the last time that you took a vacation, this is your sign that it's time to take a vacation. If the last vacation you took doesn't pop into your head as like, oh yeah, 3 months ago here, or oh yeah, last year there. If you can't even think of the last vacation you took, it is absolutely time to do so. I honestly cannot remember the last time I took a vacation. And part of my issue, I've realized, is that it's hard to define what a vacation is. If you work at a job that requires you to request paid vacation time, that's like a very obvious vacation, right? But if you're more entrepreneurial and you make your own schedule, sometimes it's hard to realize what's a vacation, what's not. For example, I've done a ton of traveling in the last year, none of which I would actually categorize as a vacation. So when I'm moving around as a digital nomad, I mean, that's simply my life. That's not a vacation. I'm bringing all of my work with me. I'm bringing the podcast with me. I'm still in my routines. I'm cooking, it's not a vacation at all. I've also done a lot of travel for the podcast, doing travel reviews and guides of different cities. And I love doing those. And it feels fun, but sometimes it also feels like work because there's something expected for me at the end of that time. You know, I have to keep a list of the places that I go and my impressions of them and figure out which ones I want to share on the podcast and what I want to say, take content, take photos, record the episodes. I mean, it's not really a vacation. I think part of my personal problem with not being able to remember the last time that I've taken a vacation is because travel and vacation are not interchangeable in my world. They could be for you. Maybe the only times that you ever travel are when you are on vacation. But if you are someone who blurs the lines of business and pleasure and work, life, all the things, you really have to define what a vacation is. I think most importantly, it's not working. And so, I guess for me to take a vacation, this would require no podcast, no client work, no emails, maybe even no social. I'm up for the challenge. I am absolutely up for the challenge and I want to take a vacation. But I think this is the reason why I can't remember. I can't recall the last time I took a vacation. So that one's probably the most obvious sign. If you're somebody that also can't recall the last time you took a vacation, I think we need to hold each other accountable to doing so. Like I said, this is not an exhaustive list. This is simply 10 or 11 signs that I've noticed in my own life recently that have really signed or signaled to me, for lack of a better term, that I do need to. I do need to finally book this vacation that I've been talking about forever. It seems like forever. And I know that I'm going to come out of it on the other side just feeling so much better, so much more creative, recharged, rejuvenated, relaxed, even maybe. Relax is pushing it, but all the good things. And so I encourage you to take a look at the signs in your own life, the physical, the emotional, the situational signs that maybe you've been ignoring for one reason or another, and that you could really benefit from paying attention to. So, whether you have realized some of these signs in your life, or if you simply just want to take a vacation, you don't have to have a sign. You don't have to get sick. You don't have to feel like totally burnt out on life. You don't have to be working 7 days a week in order to take a vacation. Like, let's be very clear. I think for any reason and for no reason at all, we should give ourselves permission to do so because the more fun we can have and the more enjoyment we get to experience, the better everything else is. So don't be afraid to take a vacation. It's time. Let's transition into this week's Love It or Leave It. So, what I'm loving this week is that I actually had a really summery experience where I went berry picking. And this may come as a shock to you because it's very out of my wheelhouse, but I wanted to do something that felt uniquely summerish, right? Because summer is already halfway over and it flies by so fast. And I feel like if I don't make it a point to do anything outside of the norm, it's like summer never happened. So my mom and I actually went berry picking at a farm. And We picked raspberries. Growing up, my grandparents had some raspberry bushes on the side of their house. And it was very much one of those situations where I remember like plucking a berry or two off the bush, right? Like, and then eating the berries, which I now realize is very different than the manual labor activity of picking berries. I am proud to share that I picked 4 pints of berries at a fucking farm with my bare hands over the course of like 2 hours. I had no idea how well, one, how prickly those bushes are. I mean, I emerged with scabs on my arms. And by the end of it, it was like I had little prickly things in my fingers because again, like I picked these berries with my hands. But it was as if I had like rolled around in some rose bushes. Like they were thorny. I feel like I really worked for those berries. I feel like I really worked for those berries. And I kind of love it because, again, it's a unique once a summer or maybe once in a lifetime type of experience. And then I just got to eat fresh wild raspberries for the next like 4 days until my face turned pink. It was great. I highly recommend it. If you want to do a seasonal activity and you want to get outside and you want to touch some grass, consider berry picking. And if it's not summer where you are, it could be apple picking. It could be pumpkin patch. Trade in the seasonal specialty. It was a nice, unusual activity to really break things up, shake things up, and I loved it. What I'm not loving this week, though, is that we are currently experiencing another wave of just thick wildfire smoke. The wildfires in Canada have been burning like crazy. I don't remember another year where there have been so many extended periods of days of smoke. It's really foggy, it's really smoky, it's hard to see. Everything has like a gray tint to it. The sun turns this like weird apocalyptic orange color, and it can be really hard to breathe. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. This can't be good for us. When the air is full of smoke, there's really not much that you can do about it. And I think that's the most frustrating part. And so I'm absolutely not loving this. I'm leaving it. I'm actually quite concerned. And I think it's a very present reminder that we have to do what we can while we still can to protect this world. It's our home. Like, and when you can't even breathe clean air that's free of smoke in your own home, that's a really sad thing. That's a really scary problem. Guys, I don't know how we're going to solve this one. I mean, it's not going to get solved today, but I'm just saying, if you have any ideas, let me know because I don't like it. So there we have it. We have lots of signs that it's time to take a vacation. And I honestly love this for us. I can't wait. We are loving raspberry picking. We are leaving wildfire smoke and air pollution. And that's all I've got. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I always appreciate when you listen to the episodes, send me messages, let me know what you like. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, on Spotify, 5 stars. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. Listen to the More Pod every Wednesday as I share the things that make me more me and discover a thing or two to make you more you.